What's up, y'all? It's Bernard back. More. Listen, man. February just kicked off. As many people know, February, Black History Month. But so far, for the month of February, Brian Flores has won Black History Month. We could call it off the rest of the month. I don't know what other accomplishments other people gonna bring. I don't know what other tricks people got to pull out the bag. But Brian Flores set it off on the NFL, as he should. Former coach of the Miami Dolphins was let go, and he filed a suit, about the discrimination that's going on. Out of 32 teams currently, there's only one black coach in the NFL. So, and he did this while he's still interviewing, right? He got a text from Bill Belichick. Belichick wasn't supposed to send him that. He thought it was another Bill. And confirming, yo, I heard the Giants landed you. Listen, let me tell you something. Sidebar. I'm from New York. This is exactly why, even though I'm from New York, I don't rock with the Giants. I don't like the Giants because I've always felt like that team, that franchise, has never really been friendly to the black community in terms of the quarterbacking and coaching positions, right? So most of the people who know me, they know I'm a big Eagles fan, right? And that's because when I was growing up, when I was in high school, the Eagles had black quarterback. They had Donovan McNabb. You know what I mean? Even before I became an Eagles fan, I used to like the Vikings because they had Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss. I thought this was the coolest guys in the world. So, we all find out reasons why we latch on and ride out with certain teams, but the Eagles has always been that type of organization that showed they don't mind black quarterbacks, and they haven't had a black coach yet, black head coach. But Andy Reid was the man. He's over in Kansas City now with Eric Bieniemy, another highly qualified black coach who does not have a head coaching job, right? So Brian Flores filed his lawsuit because the practices that they're doing, they have the Rooney Rule, which was put in place to say that the franchises, when they have an opening at head coach, they have to give an African American an opportunity to at least interview for the job, or a minority, right? So he had a he had an interview coming up on Thursday. Belichick texts him on Tuesday, thinking he's the other Brian, and was like, "Oh, congratulations!" So pretty much they was just gonna waste his time. They was just gonna waste his time, right, and bring him up there. So he went on to allege also that the Dolphins owner, his former employer, was offering him $100,000 to tank games. Then Hue Jackson came out and said that the Browns was offering him money to tank games too. So at this point, it's clear. It's clear as day. Regardless of how they try to figure it out with head coaching positions and other things going on, the one clear thing that they have to address and that they can't run from is that the NFL has been exposed for having an integrity problem, right? So you say integrity problem, yeah, because listen, we don't own, and when I say we, I mean blacks, minorities. We don't own the NFL. We don't, right? And in most black-owned companies, it's not a bunch of diversity. It's a lot of black people hiring black people. Some companies, I'm not saying all, but a lot of companies is comprised of that. So now when you have these owners who are white, they're bringing in general managers who are white, head coaches who are white, assistant coaches a lot of times is white, and it just creates this unbalanced, uh, you know, picture where it's like, oh, only the white guys get to move up and sit at the big table, but that's part of ownership, right? When you own something, you can pick who you want, you can hire who you want, you can fire who you want. So because we don't have ownership, that's a problem that I don't think a lawsuit can solve, but it can expose things. And one of the things that this lawsuit has exposed is that there are teams purposefully, If you go by Hue Jackson and by Brian Flores's testimony in the lawsuit, that there are teams that are purposely losing games and tanking. Okay, cool. Here's the kicker. I live in New York, like I said. There's places, New York, Jersey, Vegas, all over the country, where sports gambling is becoming a thing. So now you have people putting their money on the line for games that may already have predetermined outcomes. That's an integrity issue. So now you got the FanDuels, the DraftKings, the Caesars, sports books. You got all these things getting into play, making big money. Right? But there's an integrity issue now. Because we just watched Pat Mahomes fumble a 21-3 lead at halftime for the second half. Now those little rumples, oh man, that game was fixed. Oh, that game was. Now those have some merit, right? Because it's like, if they're making teams tank, well, who's to say where it stops? That's just the question. Who's to say where it stops? So we have a situation where the NFL has a major integrity issue. And not just because of their hiring practices, but because of those hiring practices, it has now uncovered the real. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this. The NFL issued out a statement saying that there's no merit to the lawsuit. All right, we'll see what happens. But the same way how John Gruden lost his job over an investigation that had nothing to do with him, because when people start investigating and digging and picking up things and searching, and shit come out, right? So this lawsuit is opening that box. And already the first thing that flew out is $100,000 payments to lose games. You think players on the Dolphins necessarily knew they were sacrificing their health and their bodies to lose on purpose? Players on the Browns. So, yes, integrity is in question for the NFL, and not just for their hiring practices. This is a story that we're going to pay a lot of close attention to. We're going to see where this goes, because this is very integral to people invest. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. I started getting in on the sports gambling too. It came to my city. Why not? You see some of them parlays. You put down $200, you might win back $250,000. It's insane. But if the outcomes is found to be predetermined, this is getting spicy. This is getting spicy. Listen, man, it's your boy Bernard, getting everything together. You see, staging everything. We're about to be way more consistent with the content. It's going to be different around here. But, again, shout out to Brian Flores, man. Because what he's doing, in the grand scheme of things, even though you can't control who people hire, it is possibly helpful to people coming up behind him. And although he may never get another job in the NFL, he's made a difference. And he's left a mark. And, somebody need to teach Bill Belichick how to text, because he done fucked everything up. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take on it. We're going to continue to watch and see. We're going to see. I'm out of here.